The remnants of an old smokehouse and a pork packing plant in the back of the yards neighborhood. That's what I'm walking through right now. I'm Tom Barnes, the Chicago scene in the back of the yards at the plant. It's a building that's completely sustainable, all on their own, and it really is the future of what food science could be, along with just making better neighbors for everybody in the environment. I'm going to talk to John, who's the owner and founder of this whole thing now for the Chicago scene. All right, those walls had a completely different use than what they're being used for now, and that kind of is the whole theme of the plant. And I'm here with John, who you're the owner, you're the visionary, you're the whole thing, John, right?
That's right. I'm the founder of Bubbly Dynamics and of the plant. That's correct.
So the plant was something completely different years ago when this building was first built. Run through that and just let people know what this was.
Sure. We're in a former smokehouse, and so Pure Foods, formerly known as Buehler Brothers, operated this building from 1925 until 2007. I bought the building in 2010, and we immediately started building growing systems and transforming it into a food business incubator.
And I think that's incredible because when you were looking to buy the space, people were just basically sizing you up for the scrap metal in here, not necessarily the old smokehouses and the chambers and the caverns that make this place an incubator for so many businesses, right?
That's right. And so, it was divided into the raw and the cooked sides, but the whole building was food grade, and most of it was refrigerated. And I looked at it and I said, wow, this building has a new life, can have a new life as a food business incubator. We can figure out how to take advantage of the embodied energy in the facility and not throw it away, not tear it down, but bring new companies in here and start to make new kinds of food.
And new kinds of food, I mean, you're talking from the cellular level of food. You were talking earlier, we were in one of the labs that are completely sealed off from the outside environment. They're in their own controlled environment. And you're growing shrimp and things. Because I mentioned, is this where they might have come up with the COVID-19 vaccine? You're like, no, we're doing way cooler stuff than that. Just go into that a little bit.
Sure. We're working with one of our partner organizations here is Back of the Yards Algae Sciences. And so the research that's happening is around lab-grown meats and products for the lab-grown meat industry, as well as finding ways to take advantage of waste products that are all around us and use them as inputs to new kinds of food manufacturing. So we're building an alternative protein lab right now called a Food Innovation Lab, where we'll study new ways of making new kinds of food, quite literally, from waste.
That's incredible. And as we're walking around, there's been a little bit of a common theme of you have algae everywhere. And for most people, it's algae. It's like the thing that grows in a fish tank or you see in a pond. But algae is kind of a big engine driver here. Why don't you explain a little bit of what that is for a company like yours?
Sure. It formerly was known as something you might make biofuels out of, but really that's not energy. That doesn't make sense. It's not cost effective. You're going to spend more money getting the energy out of it than it's worth. What Back of the Yards Algae Sciences has figured out is that there are a lot more valuable things within the algae. Phycocyanin, which is a beautiful blue protein, for instance, that can be extracted as a food colorant, also as a growth stimulant. So we're working with algae. We're also working with a large-scale anaerobic digester that we're building in the backyard. We're currently operating a small-scale one for about 7 months now. And we'll be looking to use the liquid digestate from that process as a growth stimulant.
And that is that big, that big pool outside with the Goose Island logo on it. Not because it's Goose Island, but just because you are reusing everything here, right?
That's right. We're all about reusing salvaged materials, not only materials, building materials and otherwise, but also things like carbon dioxide from Weiner Beer Company downstairs, which feeds CO2 into our bioreactors in the labs, and grow rooms from one of the 5 farms that operates here at the plant inside.
And talking about the way you've retrofitted the building, I mean, currently there's old smokehouses behind you that are now, a space for your employees to sit down and eat. There's a kitchen on the other side, and you have all these other different rooms that you've taken, what this used to be and morphed it into not only what's good now, but what's good in the future. And I think that's an important thing. You were mentioning how Chicago was the epicenter of the food industry, and we are now again.
That's right. Chicago was always where food innovation took place, and we lost it for a little bit there, but it's coming back. And there are a lot of food innovators coming back to Chicago, and this is the logical place to be. We have a skilled workforce right outside our doors, great transportation network, we're right on the Great Lakes. It's a good spot to be in here in Chicago.
And you also have an outside footprint as well. What's going on outside?
So the plant sits on about 3 acres here in back of the yards, and we have 3 outdoor farms, Patchwork, New Magnolia, and Closed Loop, who are growing a wide variety of everything from edible flowers to root vegetables and other kinds of greens, with quite a few different growing systems.
How many restaurants? How many businesses do you have here on site?
There are 20 food businesses located here at the plant, and we're hoping to expand and build 8 new incubator kitchens in the near future.
And one of the incubator kitchens that you mentioned, just as we were walking by, they poured the floor and they're going to make it a completely sealed room, correct? And that's kind of a test kitchen. That is something that is the future of what you want to do, right?
Well, we just poured concrete for a new food innovation lab, which is going to be focused on alternative proteins. And so that lab will be in development over the next 6 months or so before it's really up and running. But that'll be a very nice test kitchen with bioreactors and with analytical equipment, food extruders, 3D food printers, that sort of thing.
A lot of fun toys that you have here. And everything that you try to create no waste. As far as the waste that you do create, you try to figure out different ways to make it fuel, or just to make it useful for something else, for another business here. And that kind of is this reciprocal effect that you have going on here at the plant.
That's right. We're all about taking advantage of the waste streams that surround us and making them inputs to other processes. A small food business has to compete against large businesses, and it's very difficult without those economies of scale. And if we can provide economies of scale to these small companies, they're going to be a lot more profitable, and they'll be able to do a lot better and hire more people, and that's the future of food.
Right, and the future of food is the future of our planet, making everything sustainable, and that's kind of the whole motto. And you kind of, this isn't what you went to school for necessarily, this is just something that you found as a passion as you were making your way through life, right?
That's right. I used to art direct video games and work in the television industry, so it's a very different world.
Yeah, I would say so, and you've had this here for the better part of 10 years. Moving forward, how do people, if they want to be able to be a part of this as far as a business and any of that, how do they go about doing that?
First thing to do is check us out at insidetheplant.com and search for the plant in various social media, Instagram, etc. We're out there.
Thank you very much for taking the time to show me around. It's a wonderful thing that you guys are doing here, and I love that you've saved an old building that was the symbol of Chicago pride years and years ago, and maybe this is now the future of Chicago pride for years to come. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Man, I gotta say, this might be one of my most favorite Chicago scene segments that I've done in all the ones that I've done, just because it's taken something old that was Chicago back in the day and making it something new for the future of Chicago with how we use waste and how we make fuel from it and how we make things sustainable. TBARNAS at WGNTV.com. That's TBarness at WGNTV.com if you have a suggestion for the Chicago scene. Until then, I'll see you later.